Now that we have completed the introduction, we are going to start with actually building our new rack card. So the very first thing that we are going to do is we are going to click Create New. It's going to open up a dialog box. I do not know if you can see it or not, so I will try to describe as completely as I can. Also follow along in the book on page 301. And the first thing we are going to do is select Print. Once we are in the print area, we are going to type in letterfold. We are going to change the unit to inches. Page size is going to be the rack card size. So in width, we are going to put in 4 inches and hit tab. And then on height, we are going to put 9 inches and then hit tab. Facing pages needs to be unchecked. Primary text frame needs to be checked. We are going to use 1 column. We are going to be adding margins, so make sure that the margins area is locked, because we're going to do the same all the way around. And in one of the margin boxes, type 0.25 and hit tab. It should fill up all 4 of the margin boxes with 0.25. We are going to be adding a bleed and slugs. Make sure that the bleed area is locked. And in the first bleed box, we are going to type 0.125 and hit tab. It should do all 4 boxes. Now in the slug area, we are only going to do 2 of the areas. So make sure that the lock is unlocked. In the slug top, we are going to type in 0.5 on top. And then we are also going to type 0.5 on the bottom. And that is it. We're going to leave the left and the right at 0. Once I have completed all of this, what I am going to do is at this point, just go ahead and hit, just a minute, I spelled it wrong. I'm going to hit create, and that will create our original new file that we are going to next make into our A master. So what I want to do is I want to click the A master page name, right click it, and choose master options for A master. What I'm going to do is in the dialog box that opens up where the name says master, I am going to change that to outside. And I'm going to change the number of pages to 3 and click OK. You will now see up in the pages area it says A outside, and it has 3 pages. In the pages panel, I'm going to double click the A outside layout, which will bring all 3 pages up in the display in the document window. And using the selection tool, I'm going to click inside the margin area of the left page to select the primary text frame. And the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to alt-click the text frame and drag to the right to clone it. So what I'm going to do is just like we've done in the past, by holding down Alt, you will see that I get double arrows. So I'm going to keep that held down, and I'm going to drag it over and place it on top of the second margin. And then I'm going to do it one more time and place it on top of the third margin area. So what I now have, if I just hover over each one of these, is I now have a text frame in all 3 panels. Our next step is, you might want to watch, what we're going to do is we are going to choose the page tool. The page tool is the 3rd tool down. And then we're going to click the left page of the spread to select that page. Now, how you have to do that is you have to click out in the margin. As soon as I click out in the margin, I can see that I have the handles all the way around just that page. And then our next step is in the control panel, we are going to choose the object base in the liquid page rule menu. And that is right at the top. You'll see it says liquid page rule. You're going to make sure that you are selected on object base. And then the second thing you're going to do is you are going to make sure that the objects move with page option is checked. So again, make sure under liquid page rule, object base is selected in the drop-down box and that objects move with page is checked. Now the next step is to choose the right center reference point. So again, clear at the top, the 9 dots are our reference points and we want the right center reference point. You will see that I now have clicked the right center reference point. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the right of the 4 inches in the width field and click our insertion point. And this will only show up as we are doing it, and we're going to type in minus period 125, okay, and hit enter, and you will see that indeed what it did is the width of this one page changed to 3.875. At this time, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to File. We're going to do a Save As. We are going to make sure that we are in our Australia folder. And we are going to save this as letterfold. In our next section on page 304, we are going to add slug information and fold marks. Now slug information is in that blue area, which is outside the bleed area, this little blue area that you're seeing up here. And then we're also going to add what's called fold marks in that outer area also. When you work with folding grids, it's easy to forget which panel goes where. You can use the layout slug area to add non-printing elements as self-reminders and place folding marks outside on the output provider can use for reference. These elements should be placed into the master page layout. So the next step of what we're going to do is we're going to first grab our type tool. So go over, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tool down. We're going to grab our type tool and create a text frame above the left panel of the spread between the bleed and the slug line. So I'm going to blow this up a little bit so you can see it. And I'm going to drag to create a text box above the first panel. And you'll see that I do indeed have a blinking cursor inside that text box that I created. And what I'm going to type is outside left panel dash fold in. And then I'm going to apply a centered paragraph alignment. So I will highlight it, go up to the top control panel and choose center align for that particular text that I just typed. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Window and go down to Output and open up the Attributes window, and which opened up a dialog box. I'm going to select the text frame of the box that I just built with the selection tool. and then check the non-printing box in the attributes panel. My next step is to right click and go down to the allow master panel overrides to deactivate it. So I am going to click it once to uncheck it and protect this object on associated layout pages. Using the selection tool, I'm going to hold down the Alt and I'm going to go up here and highlight, oops, let me close out the attributes box to move it out of the way. What I want to do, and I'm going to blow it up so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to use this to create more boxes by holding down the Alt key. It's going to be a little difficult, but when you see the double arrows, what you want to do is drag a second one to the middle panel. And then I'm going to suggest before we start typing that you do that once more. Make sure you have double arrows, and you're going to drag a third one over the third panel. Once you have all three panels created, go back to your text tool, and on the middle one, you're going to call this outside center panel with the text tool. And you're going to call it also mailing area. And then you're going to, oops, and then you're going to go to the far right panel. And you're going to call it outside right panel. And you're going to call it front. Our next step is going to be creating a guide for the fold. So you're going to go over to your toolbar on the left-hand side and grab the line tool. And before you do anything, the first thing you're going to have to do is give it some color. So underneath stroke, I want you to choose black. And under size, I want you to choose 0.5. Then what you're going to do is, I find it, they tell you to draw down in the book, but I find it easier to actually draw up because I can get very, very close to the line. So I will start right here at the corner and draw straight up. Oh, if I hold down the shift key, sorry, it'll make it straight. So draw it from the line to the top of the slug and let go. Now the easiest way to draw the second one would be to go grab your selection tool, hold down the Alt, and just drag it over. So that way you have both of your fold lines all ready to go. The next step in the book is to change them to dotted line, which really isn't necessary. So I am going to just kind of skip that step. But what we need to do is also make a copy of these lines for the bottom. So the easiest way to do that is while you are on your selection tool, grab the first one and then hold down your shift key, grab the second one. Okay, right click copy, then go down to the bottom where you have your second one and right click paste, and then make sure that you are, probably the easiest way to do it is just use your arrow keys and scoot it straight down on the lines like so. Until you have them completely lined up. between the bleed and the slug on the bottom. Once you have done that, do a Control S to save your work, and that completes this session of the exercise.